Welcome to Shannon Speaks. I'm Shannon and I will be speaking. And today I'm holding the mic this time. And this is the March wrap up. Hopefully, I shouldn't even say hopefully, you'll be seeing this in the near future because maybe you will, maybe you won't. I am filming this on April 5th. So we'll see when you see it. So the first book that I read was So Late in the Day by Keegan. And it's actually 3 short stories within this one book. And they all kind of like intertwine into each other. The first story is following a man that's kind of reflecting on this failed relationship that he had. And then the second story is about this woman that's on this like writing retreat. So she's in this this apparently like famous house, or like a house owned by someone famous that I'm none the wiser. But this man comes up to her like while she's like at this house and just starts like mansplaining away. Yeah, just giving misogyny. And the last story in the book is about this woman who is married and decides to go to another town to sleep with a stranger. I'm only making that face at the last one, not because she's sleeping with a stranger and she's married, because God forbid women have hobbies, but because of what happens as a result of that. But that's a spoiler, so like I won't get into it. What I will say, I love everything that Keegan does, period. I was so excited to like start the month off with this book because I crave Keegan's writing. I absolutely loved Foster by her. There was another book I read by her. Don't ask me about titles, child. But I've just loved everything that she's done. Foster I've read twice and absolutely adored it. This is definitely going to be a book that I'm going to like go back and read. Probably at the end of the year I'm going to read it again. 4 stars. Adore Keegan. Great. The next book that I read was actually a memoir. I read Bad Fat Black Girl by Sesali Bowen. And it just follows parts of her life in which she had to confront her blackness, her queerness, her fatness. It's also heavily interwoven with feminism and how she came to coin the term trap feminism and how like hip hop intertwines with feminism. It is so good. Sesali Bowen has such I listened to it on audio. She is not only such a great writer, but even just like hearing her like tell her own story, which is how I prefer to consume memoirs, is through audio. Even just like the way that she speaks, it's so good. And also I love the idea of intertwining trap music, hip hop, and feminism, especially because trap music and hip hop is known so heavily to be misogynistic. Even like it with female rap, it can still be leaning very misogynistic. But I loved hearing Sesali Bowen's takes on how that still interweaves within feminism and how they can still coexist, and you don't have to hate trap music or hip hop because of how it exists, and that goes against your feminist beliefs. Like they don't have to go against each other, if you will. The next book that I read was Wash Day Diaries by Jamila Rouser. This is actually a graphic novel is the word I'm looking for. This is actually a graphic novel, and it is so cute. It follows these 4 women. They're all friends. All of their stories kind of like intertwine into each other. And you just follow them going through their day-to-day lives, their ups and downs. And all of it is within the context of them like doing their hair and your like wash day, which black as hell. And I just had a good time with this. It's cute. It's wholesome. I give it 4 stars. I gave the last book 5 stars. I have to get better at this. I actually just forget that I'm supposed to also tell y'all what I rated these books. But yeah, I gave Wash Day Diaries 4 stars. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was cute. I need a physical copy of it because I need to actually be able to like see all the vibrant colors and everything. I did read it as a ebook, so I didn't get all the colors, and I know it's like a really beautiful book. So yeah, that's it on that one. So this is the part of the month where all of the books started to kick my ass because they were just sad book after sad book after sad book. So the next book that I read for the month was Concerning My Daughter by Hye-Jin, translated from Korean by Jamie Chang. This book follows a mother who has to take in her queer daughter and her queer daughter's partner for reasons. You're following the mother dealing with the fact that she works in a nursing home and watching the company that she works for not treating her patients well, or the patients well. And then on the opposite side of that, you're watching her daughter go to all these protests for all of her colleagues that are getting let go or laid off based on the fact that they're gay. And you're just kind of seeing how these two women's lives are kind of intersecting, and the mother not really realizing how much her daughter is like her. And there's just some amazing points in the book where the mother says something that's so poignant, and you can tell that in theory, she understands what her daughter is doing, because she doesn't understand why her daughter is like going to all these protests. In theory, you get that she wants to understand it, I guess. As you go through the book, you witness the mother really struggling to understand why her daughter is choosing to do what her daughter is doing, whilst she's also essentially going against the grain and trying to care for her elderly patient in the same way in which her daughter is trying to care for her gay colleagues. The one thing I guess I'll say that I didn't love was the ending. And I think I didn't like the ending because I wanted to, I guess, come together a little bit more. And I feel like it kind of just ended, which it's not horrible, but I just wish that it would have just gave me a little bit more at the end. But I still gave it 4 stars. I loved this book. Still thought it was great. Sad, just really sad, but still really good. And this is where it goes from worse to worser. After reading Concerning My Daughter, I then read All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. This book is told in 3 POVs. One is the mother, the second POV is her son, and then the third POV is her son's best friend that is essentially like an adopted daughter to her. This book is so sad. This book is so sad. I don't even really want to say too much more than that, and only because there's so much to unpack from the book. It discusses grief, it discusses trauma, it discusses how far someone will go for the people that they love, the people that they care about. There's a moment in this book towards the end that had me completely messed up. The last like 50 pages, I was like, I don't want to read this anymore. I really just kept like repeating. I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. What an emotional roller coaster. What a phenomenally written book. I'm not explaining this well. Just understand that if you haven't read this book, you should. It is YA, but it doesn't feel like YA. But also, I like YA, so not too much on me saying it doesn't feel like YA. But the reason why I say that is it's just because it's so heavy and it's so thoughtful. And I just think Sabaa Tahir did just such a great job, and I really look forward to reading more of her work because so good. 5 stars. And the last book that had me down bad, that just had me messed up and down bad, is Elena Knows by Claudia Piñerio. I also adored this book. We follow this mother who is going across town to meet with someone that she thinks might help her with forming a case over her dead daughter. So the mother doesn't believe, or Elena doesn't believe, that her daughter has committed suicide. This isn't a spoiler, it's in the synopsis. She doesn't believe that her daughter has committed suicide. She thinks that her daughter was murdered, and she is really upset over the fact that the police are just like, it was a suicide, like there's nothing else to investigate, like this is it. And she's just like not having it. And we go through literally just essentially just a single day of her traveling from her home across town to meet with someone that she's hoping will help her. And everything about this book is so good. Elena as a character, you see all of her flaws, but also you are forced to have empathy for her, not just because of the loss of her daughter, but just understanding that she's been treated poorly in her life, understanding that she's currently disabled and the world just doesn't take care of disabled people or aid to them in any way, in the way in which we should, as a community, as a society. And there's just so many like heartbreaking moments, and the way that it ends, I guess I was hoping for something else, and I don't even mean that in a bad way. I was hoping for something else in the sense that I was just hoping that I wouldn't be as sad at the end of it. But it's just so heartbreaking, and everything that it discusses when it comes to grief, when it comes to loss, when it even comes to womanhood and how women are viewed, how women sometimes view each other, how we can both be victim and villain. It's incredible. Just absolutely incredible. 5 stars. So for the next book, we get a little confusing. We get a little, I almost want to say goofy, silly. Not really. I don't know how to describe this book. Anyways, the next book that I read is Die My Love by Ariana Harwicz. I think that's how you say that. Don't ask me how to pronounce names. First off, the title, incredible. Die My Love as a title, iconic. This book, on the other hand, left me confused. I don't exactly know how to explain this to you. And maybe every single month I'll come to you with saying that there is a book that I don't know how to explain. This is the one for this month. In this book, we're following this woman who, she's married, she has a son, and straight from like the beginning, she's unhinged, and we're just following her in her life. She's kind of isolated. She doesn't seem like she has any family. I believe that they might say that she doesn't like have any family. So her only family is her like family unit of her husband and her son, and then her husband's family. She's just bizarre, and she's just like, you're watching her spiral, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. The one thing I will give this book, this is the reason why I gave this book 3 stars. The writing's good. The writing is really good. I really enjoy the main character's like narrative voice. I think it's really good. I find her to be very witty, isn't necessarily the word. There's just a sureness in this character, in all of her like nonsense, all of her spiraling. I can't tell you what was actually happening, what was a dream. The whole thing felt like a fever dream. If you like just like weird books, I'd say that you might like this. Maybe I'm not smart enough to understand like what this is like actually about and what's actually trying to say. I was like reading reviews of people giving 5 stars to this, and I was like, if you say so. I mean, I guess if you say so. But I don't see this as that, but I can't give it anything lower than 3 stars because I think the writing was really, really good. The next book that I read for the month was the Lily Reads Book Club pick, which is a love song for Ricki Wilde by Tia Williams. This book, we are following a character named Ricki, and she is the like outcast, the black sheep of the family. Her family owns a bunch of funeral homes, and she's just like, no, I don't want to be a part of the business. Like, I'm a flower girly, and I want to open up my own flower shop. So Ricki goes all the way to New York. I forget where they're originally from. Don't ask me, child. She goes all the way to New York and ends up renting out the lowest level of this elderly lady's brownstone, and opens up her flower shop, and then also like lives there, like a little apartment in there. In this, she also meets this man named Ezra, the other person on the cover, and they kind of go through this like insta-lovey, like immediate connection type thing. The word for this book is ambitious. It is definitely Tia Williams was definitely trying to do a lot with this. And I don't think that is a bad thing, but she definitely needed a higher page count. It's only like 300 and some odd pages, Joe, which just isn't enough time to tell the story I think that she was trying to tell. The best parts about this book, though, are the flashback chapters, the chapters that take place in the early 1900s. Those are the best chapters. Ricki's storyline and all of her chapters are fine. I actually fear that she's not the most fleshed out character. I think that Ezra has a significantly better storyline, and he's just a more interesting character. I even think that her like best friend Tuesday is a more interesting character. Ricki's family sucks. Her sisters don't necessarily feel like real people. They kind of just seem very cartoon villainesque. Her parents suck. We're supposed to believe that like her dad is like redeemable, I guess. I think he sucks. I think she should just cut off her whole family, in my personal opinion. But yeah, I gave this 3.5 stars. There's a lot of things that I do like about this, and that is that I just think that Tia Williams is a really good writer. I have 7 Days of June back there, and I loved that book. Did I read it towards the beginning of me reading? Yes. So like maybe my feelings would change on it now, but now that I'm almost like 200 books in to reading, but I don't fully know how I feel. So I have to give it 3.5 because it's not a bad book. It's just very ambitious. It just doesn't feel like it's fully doing everything that it could be doing. And I fear I might be rating it kind of on potential and maybe not so much of what's actually here, but there's a lot of good moments. So I don't know, 3.5 stars. That's it. So the last and final book that I read for the month is this brick.
This shit's so bulky.
Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. This book is about a boy named Demon, and we are following him throughout his life. I think we start following him. Essentially, he tells us the story of like how he was born. Then we follow him from like 8 years old into being a teenager up until he's, I believe, 18. This book at its root is about poverty and how poverty damages people, how it damages relationships, just its overall impact on a person and how it just shapes their worldview. I enjoyed this book. However, found it to kind of be a little lackluster towards like the last 100 pages. I kind of found that I was caring less and less about what was happening. The ending I thought was okay. Like at the end of it, I literally was like, that was a book. Like, yeah, okay. The one thing I have to give this book that I think it does phenomenally though, and that is that Barbara Kingsolver is so good at crafting Demon's voice in this. There was multiple times where I was like, I know this isn't a memoir, but it's kind of giving. But it's kind of giving that. Like the voice, Demon's voice felt so rooted. He felt like such a like fleshed out character that it almost was giving like this is a person. And that's something that I have to give this book. If I give it nothing else, it's that. Also, I have to just say it's well written. It is well written. I just found that it might have been a tad bit too long. Maybe we should take 100 pages from this and give it to Tia Williams' book, because like that's what it needed. We just need to swap it a little bit. This doesn't warrant 546 pages. 540, like it doesn't need 546 pages, especially to get its point across, which is arguably poverty bad. We just kind of we don't need this many pages for it. But besides that, it is good. I still would recommend this, especially if you are just looking for, or if you're specifically looking for a book that's a character study. I definitely recommend this. My other gripe though, I think that all of the characters that are like around Demon kind of just exist to help guide him. And at first I didn't want to say that was the case. I was like, maybe I don't really feel that way. But as the book kept going and I kept just seeing like bad things happen to this person, bad things happen to that person, I'm like, yeah, some of them didn't, I don't want to say they deserve the bad things to happen to them, but they didn't deserve good things either. I just felt like, Demon witnessing these things happening, it's just like, okay, I guess. And I don't even necessarily feel like there was a huge change in who he was as a person at the end of it for it to even really warrant all of the bad things happening to all these other people around him. That's my opinion. 4 stars, maybe 4.25. Maybe if I'm being nice. Maybe if I'm really thinking about it, I'm being nice. But that is it. That is all the books that I read in March. You can follow me on Goodreads. You can follow me on Storygraph. You can't follow me anywhere else because I don't exist anywhere else on the internet, and maybe not in real life either. Maybe, who knows? I will see you guys in June. Okay, bye.